You know, being a prepper is all about being prepared. That's what it means. Prepared for just about anything. As many things as you can prepare for, as many things as you can get ready for. And that includes if you have a serious disease, disability, or illness, long-term illness that's in your family. You have to prepare for those things. Now, we have in our family, my son, my oldest child, is type 1 diabetic. He has juvenile diabetes. That is a lifelong problem that he is going to have. We don't look at that any differently than we do anything else. And we prepare for diabetes, for dealing with his diabetes, just like we would prepare for any other circumstance that might come up. Hi folks, Howard here for VP Prepping and Survival. And as I said in the open, we have a son, many of you already knew this, who has type 1 diabetes. Juvenile diabetes. He's going to have it his whole life. And with that in mind, we don't look at that as a death sentence. We don't look at that as anything differently than anything else. Not having food in an SHTF event or an emergency event is a death sentence. Not having water, not having shelter, not having all these other things that you need. So we look at prepping for his diabetes in the exact same way. We try to stockpile, we have tried to stockpile and build up as big a supply as we can, and we continue to do that to be ready. And we also have alternate plans in place for the eventuality that supply lines are cut off and we don't get any new supplies. So without further ado, I'd like to give you a look at what we've built up so far, and you can hear me talk a little bit about these things. Here's a look at what we actually have built up for our son. And we have about a 4 to 6 month supply right now of everything but insulin. Insulin, we're probably right about at the 4 month. We're building as we go, and hopefully we would like to get up to a minimum of 6 months on everything. We have syringes here and here. These are all the syringes he would need to take care of his injections, obviously. Up on top of the syringes, there are a bunch of packages of lancets, if you can see them. These are what he uses to do his finger checks. We have an extra one of these checkers. We have several extra of these actually. And then these are all his test strips. We're about due to get another 3 month supply shipped into these. These are also lancets. Over here we have all the alcohol pads, and again over here we have more of the syringes. So we've got a good little supply built up, and as I said, about a 4 month supply of insulin ahead. And all you have to do with the insulin is keep it refrigerated, and it should be good until once you open it, it's good for 4 to 6 weeks. Is what they recommend, and what we found is about 6 weeks or so is about the limit of how useful it is once you start to draw from it. So I think prepping, as I said, for anything, whether you're talking about diabetes or any condition that you have, is no different than prepping for anything else. You know that you're going to have to eat. You know that you're going to have to drink. You know that you're going to have to be able to defend yourself. So making the same choices with other things that and for our case, we know that our son is diabetic, and we have to take steps ahead of time to build up the supply that we can to be prepared for any sort of emergency event in that eventuality. And we don't look at this any different than we look at anything else that we prep. Yeah, we have to make choices, and we have to make a concerted effort to get the biggest supply that we can of things that he is going to need to maintain his current lifestyle for as long as possible. And after that, we have other plans in place, and those plans involve we have different sort of natural supplements that may or may not work, and we'll have to see how well they do. We also have a plan, it's kind of our drop dead plan, or our nuclear plan of going to a zero carb or extremely low carb diet. For those who don't know, diabetes, carbs are kind of the enemy when your body can't produce insulin, because your body, carbs are what build up the blood sugar in your level in your blood, and then you don't have the insulin to get rid of that, so your ketones can build up and you can go into DKA, which is diabetic ketoacidosis. So as you can see, we have supplies built up. We will continue to build up, and what we would like to see is not just these 2 shelves, but this entire shelving system built up with nothing but diabetic supplies for the event, any sort of SHTF event that comes up. As you can see, we have a good supply. Now, you heard in that video as I talked about the insulin that it has to be refrigerated. Now, first off, in an SHTF event here in New York, that's not going to be a problem most of the year, because most of the year, 7, 8 months of the year, it's not going to be hot enough to be a problem with that insulin. And for the other points of the year, I mean, you do it the same way that people stored things in the old days. You're going to have to dig a hole. You're going to have to build some sort of root cellar, something like that, where you can keep things cool, find a cool place where your stuff is going to be protected, obviously, not just there for anybody to come along and take it, but also where you can keep stuff refrigerated. And that's going to be the same whether you're talking about hunting and getting some kind of meats or preserving your food, anything. You're going to want stuff in a cool, dry place. So we have those plans in place already as well. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. My name is Howard again for VP Prepping and Survival. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, Tumblr, and of course right here on YouTube if you want to check out my channel. Remember, folks, in any emergency event, you don't just want to survive, you want to thrive. Happy shooting, everybody.